So, good day everyone. So, I am Shani E. Tinguban and my partner is Mr. Raymart Gajetos, and we are going to report the continuation of the French Revolution, which is Napoleon Forged an Empire, his downfall, and the Congress of Vienna. So, here is the timeline or the time and event of the French Revolution during Napoleon, which Napoleon forged an empire. So in 1795, Hero of the Hour, 1799, coup d'etat. In 1800, Napoleon rules France, and also in 1800, restoring order at home. In 1804, Napoleon crowned as emperor. In 1805, Napoleon creates an empire. 1789, loss of American territories, um, also conquering Europe, and 1805, the Battle of Trafalgar, and 1812, the French Empire. So, by the way, this is the picture of Napoleon Bonaparte. So, before anything else, I would like to share a very short information about Napoleon Bonaparte. So, Napoleon Bonaparte was born on August 15, 1769. So, his birthplace was Ajaccio or Ajaccio, which is the capital of Corsica, a Mediterranean island that was under rule at the time of Napoleon's birth. So, Ajaccio or Ajaccio is now a part of France. Napoleon Bonaparte was a military and political leader who rose to prominence during the French Revolution. So he became emperor of the French in 1804 and led France in a series of military campaigns known as the Napoleonic War. So his influence reshaped European politics and military strategies. And Napoleon is considered one of history's greatest military commanders, but also faced eventual defeat and eventual defeat. Next, please. Now, Napoleon seized on power. So, hero of the hour. So, in 1796, the Directory appointed Napoleon to lead a French army against the forces of Austria and the Kingdom of Sardinia. Crossing the Alps, the young general swept into Italy and won a series of remarkable victories. So, why is it called Hero of the Hour? Or Napoleon was called Hero of the Hour. So the term Hero of the Hour is a figurative expression used to describe someone who emerged as a savior or a key figure during a critical or decisive moment. So in the case of Napoleon Bonaparte, Napoleon became the hero of the hour during the period in post-revolutionary France. So after the chaos of the French Revolution and the instability that followed, Napoleon emerged as a military and political leader capable of restoring order and stability. So his victories on the battlefield, combined with his ability to address the economic and political challenges of the time, earned him widespread support. So Napoleon rise to power was characterized by his image as a strong leader who could bring unity to a fractured nation, and he presented himself as a defender of revolutionary ideals while also establishing a strong central government. His success is consolidating power and implementing reforms such as the Napoleonic Code, contributed to the perception of him as the figure capable of leading France out of crisis, making him the hero of the hour in the eyes of many. Now, next is the coup d'etat. By 1799, the Directory had lost control of the political situation and the confidence of the French people. So, coup d'etat, often simply referred to as a coup or as a sudden, violent and illegal seizure of government um, power. So, in the context of Napoleon Bonaparte rise to power, he orchestrated a coup d'etat on November 9 to 10, 1799, or known as the 18 Brumaire coup. So this event marked the end of the French Directory and the beginning of the Consulate era, during which Napoleon became first consul and eventually paved the way for his ascent to emperor. So the 18 Brumaire coup refers to the event that took place in or on November 9 and 10 in 1799. So Napoleon, along with his brother Lucien Bonaparte and others, orchestrated the coup to dissolve the weak and unstable Directory. So the result was the establishment of the consulate, which Napoleon, as the first consul, effectively concentrating powers in his hand. So this event played a vital or pivotal role in Napoleon's rise to power, eventually leading to his proclamation as Emperor of the French in 1804. So that's it, the coup d'etat. So next is Napoleon rules France. So he's restoring order at home. He supported laws that would both strengthen the central government and achieve some of the goals of the revolution. And Napoleon thought that his greatest work was his comprehensive system of laws known as the Napoleonic Code. So when Napoleon ruled France, he implemented several measures aimed at restoring order at home. So his governance often referred to as the Napoleonic era, brought about both stability and significant reform. So some of the key aspects when Napoleon ruled France and Napoleon rules France is the Napoleonic Code. So Napoleon introduced the Code or the Civil Code in 1804, which standardized and modernized French law. So it emphasized equality before the law, property rights, and individual freedoms. So the code had a lasting impact on legal system worldwide. So in his governance, he also offered both stability and significant reform. So another key aspects of Napoleon ruled France during this time is the centralized authority. So Napoleon established a strong central government, concentrating power in his hands of the first consul. This centralized authority helped bring political stability after the turbulence of the French Revolution. So while Napoleon rule brought order and stability, and it also had authoritarian elements. So his military conquest across Europe and the imposition of French dominance sparked opposition. So despite these complexities, Napoleon domestic policies left a lasting impact on France's legal, administrative, and social structures. So next is Napoleon crowned as um, emperor. So in 1804, Napoleon decided to make himself emperor, and the French voters supported him. So in 1804, Napoleon, seeking to consolidate his power and establish himself as the undisputed leader of France, made decision to crown himself as the emperor. So this move was met with support from the French voters. So on December 2, 1804, it in a grand ceremony held at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. So Napoleon, adorned in a magnificent robe of purple velvet, walked down the lengthy aisle. So the significant moment of the coronation took place when Napoleon approached the awaiting Pope. The Pope, holding a glittering crown symbolizing traditional religious authority, was part of the ritual. So, however, instead of allowing the Pope to crown him, Napoleon took the crown from the Pope's hand and placed it in his own head. So, this bold act symbolizes Napoleon's assertion of his own authority and power. So, signaling that he considered himself more powerful than the church. So by personally crowning himself, Napoleon deliberately broke with the tradition where rulers of France were traditionally crowned by the church, emphasizing his dominance over both the secular and religious aspects of his rule. So the ceremony served as a powerful statement underlining Napoleon's intention to establish a regime where his authority surpassed long-standing religious traditions. So that's what happened during Napoleon crowned as emperor. Next is Next is Napoleon creates an empire. So first is loss of American territory. So in 1801, Napoleon decided to take back the colony and restore its productive sugar industry. So in 1801, Napoleon made the strategic decision to reclaim or to restore a valuable colony and revive its lucrative sugar industry. So the colony in question was likely Haiti, which had gained independence during the Haitian Revolution but was viewed by Napoleon as crucial for its economic potential. His goal was to restore French control over the colony and benefit from its profitable sugar production. So, however, it faced significant challenges, including strong resistance from the newly independent Haitians led by Toussaint Louverture. Napoleon's effort in Haiti ultimately failed. So this setback marked a significant loss for France in terms of territorial control and economic exploitation in the New World. So, conquering Europe, having abandoned his imperial ambitions in the New World, Napoleon turned his attention to Europe. So, having faced defeat in the New World, Napoleon shifted his focus back to Europe, abandoning his imperial aspirations in America. He redirected his military and political efforts towards the European continent. So, the early 19th century saw Napoleon embarking on a series of military campaigns across Europe, so collectively known as the uh, Napoleonic Wars. So his ambitious conquest aimed to expand French influence and reshape the political landscape of the continent. So these twin developments, the loss of American territories and subsequent European conquest are reflective of Napoleon's dynamic and far reaching ambitions during this period. So, while he faced setbacks in some regions, his military powers and um, strategic vision left an um, um, mark on European history. So that was what happened on during Napoleon creates an empire. Now next is the Battle of Trafalgar. So the battle, sorry for that. Okay, let's continue. The Battle of Trafalgar. So the battle occurred off the coast of Cape Trafalgar in southwestern Spain and involved the British Royal Navy, commanded by Admiral Lord Nelson, and the combined French and Spanish fleets. So, in the Battle of the Trafalgar, which fought on October 21, 1805, was a decisive naval engagement during the Napoleonic War. So the battle took place off the coast of Cape Trafalgar near the southwestern tip of Spain. It involves the British Royal Navy led by Admiral Lord Nelson and the combined fleets of France and Spain. So, Admiral Lord Nelson, one of the most celebrated naval commanders in British history, commanded the British fleet aboard HMS Victory. So, the opposing fleet was commanded by French Admiral Pierre Charles Villeneuve and Spanish Admiral Federico Gravina. So the battle was part of the larger conflict between Britain and Napoleon's France, which sought to control European territories and dominate the sea. So the Battle of Trafalgar is famous for Nelson's signal, which is he said that England expects that everyone will do his duty, and for the British victory that established naval supremacy for decades. However, it also marked a personal tragedy as Admiral Nelson lost his life in the midst of the triumph. So the battle had a profound impact on the course of Napoleonic Wars and the balance of power in Europe. So uh, the in the next page we see I mean, that was the picture of the Battle of Trafalgar. So, yes, this is the picture of the war. I mean, the battle. So, please, Raymart, please go back to the previous slide. Next is the French Empire. So, the French Empire was huge but unstable, so Napoleon was also to maintain it as its greatest extent for only 5 years from 1807 to 1812. So the French Empire, which he creates under the rule of the French Empire under the rule of Napoleon Bonaparte was indeed vast but proved to be unstable and challenging to sustain over an extended period. As its zenith, the French Empire reached its greatest extent from 1807 to 1812. So during this period, Napoleon's military campaigns and diplomatic efforts resulted in significant territorial gains and the establishment of French across the large part of Europe. So um it has the key elements of the French Empire's expansion, which includes the military conquest, the treaties and alliances, and the continental system. So despite these achievements, maintaining such um, a large empire presented significant challenges, which is the resistance and nationalism, logistical challenges, and overextension of resources. So I mean, the French Empire faced a turning point with the ill-fated invasion of Russia in 1812. So the harsh Russian winter and effective scorched earth tactics severely weakened Napoleon's forces. So while Napoleon briefly returned to its 1815 during the Hundred Days, his final defeat at the Battle of the Waterloo led to his second abdication and exile to the remote island of Saint Helena. So the collapse of the French Empire marked the end of Napoleon's ambitions and reshaped the political landscape of Europe. So those are the events, or those are the events during the Napoleon forged an empire. So a while ago um I said that the Hundred Days, the final defeat, the Battle of Waterloo. So let's see what happened during this time. So allow me to introduce Mr. Raymart Gajetos for the explanation during the downfall of Napoleon.
So, hello everyone. Madungog ra ko, Shen. Okay. So,
Yes,
I
Raymart.
am assigned to report the collapse of Napoleon's empire. So, let's start. So, this is the timeline. In 1806, the Continental System. In 1808, the Peninsular War. In 1812, the invasion of Russia and the Napoleon's downfall. In 1813, Napoleon suffers defeat. In 1795, the Hundred Days, and in 1815, the Battle of Waterloo. Napoleon's costly mistakes. So these are the common mistakes or the mistakes why Napoleon um, experience of fall down. So first is the continental system. So what happened here? Napoleon Bonaparte, when he was a French emperor, started the continental system in 1806. So he started the continental system in 1806. He wanted to hurt Britain's money situation by stopping their trade with Europe. So he tried to get all of Europe to stop buying British things, hoping this would make Britain weaker and less able to fight. Napoleon thought this would make Britain want to make peace, but it didn't work out as he planned. It was hard to make sure everyone followed it, and a lot of illegal trade happened. Some countries like Russia didn't follow it at all. This led to a war between Russia and France in 1812. Also, Britain's money situation was stronger than Napoleon's thought. So, in the end, the continental system hurts hurts Europe's money situation, including France's more than it more than it hurts Britain's. It's one of the reason Napoleon lost power. So this is the one of the reason why Napoleon lost his power. Next is the Peninsular War. So sorry for that noise. So what happened here in Peninsular War? So the Peninsular War happened from 1808 to 1814. Napoleon wanted to take over Spain and Portugal. At first, he put his brother in charge, but the people there fought back.
They used sneaky tactics to disrupt the French army, like surprise attacks and destroying supplies. The local and British army fought against the French. They kept fighting and didn't give up. Even though the French won some battles, they couldn't completely control Spain and Portugal. The war made Napoleon's empire weaker and made him focus less on other wars. So it is distraction for um, what do you call this, Napoleon nga mo, he was just focusing on the war between in the Portugal and the Spain because they're Napoleon wanted to um lead or reign in siya may ganan siya mo reign sa kuan Peninsular War, which is the Portugal and Spain. But tungod ani na distract na siya sa uban kay naa pa siya laing war nga atubangon. So it is one of the mistakes pod niya. So next one is the invasion of Russia. So what was happened here in the invasion of Russia? In 1812, Napoleon took a big army called the Grande Army to invade Russia. He wanted to punish them for not following his economic plan and to make himself more powerful in Europe. At first, the French army won some battles and took over Russian cities. But the Russians used a strategy of retreating and destroying everything in their path. They didn't want the French to have any food or supplies. Excuse me, Taisa. Nangasa. So, as the French army went farther into Russia, they faced bad weather, not either supplies, and constant attacks from the Russians. The Battle of Borodino was a big fight, but it didn't give Napoleon a clear win. When winter came, the French army wasn't ready for the cold. They suffered from the weather, hunger, and more attacks from the Russians. The retreat from Russia was a disaster, and many soldiers died. The invasion of Russia was a big turning point for Napoleon. It made his empire weaker, excuse me, and started his downfall. Other countries saw this and joined together to fight against him. Eventually, Napoleon lost and had to leave power. Excuse me, sorry. So, when they invade, when Napoleon's army invade Russia, it was a big disaster. It's because of the Russia's army also anang ni kuan sila ni surrender sila or like ni retreat. So when Napoleon's army are trying to invade Russia na, uh, ang mga livestock dito, mga livestock ka ng mga animals, mga foods is wala sila gipang bilin, giurot nila og guba, mga supplies pod. Sorry sa ubo. Then when katong ang bandang ang Russia na ang niadto dito, I mean katong mga army ni Napoleon kanto kayo nga para madaog siya. He thought nga madaog siya. But he was kuan outsmarted by the Russians. Kay pag abot nila dito, abi nila na I fight but they were wrong. They were just kuan niadto ra sila dito for nothing and then nagsuffer sila for the hunger ug sa cold nga nahitabo. Like the Russians are gi outsmarted gud sa Russian ang army ni Napoleon. Next is Napoleon suffers defeat. In 1813, Napoleon had a lot of losses that changed his military career. There were a few reasons why he was defeated. First, many countries formed a group called the Sixth Coalition to fight against Napoleon. They wanted to stop him from having too much power in Europe. Second, Napoleon's army was spread thin. They had been fighting for a long time and didn't have enough resources or soldiers to keep going. So the coalition forces learned from their past battles with Napoleon and used new tactics to make it hard for him to win. They avoided direct fights and used sneaky guerrilla tactics. Also, Napoleon wasn't as good as leading his army as he used to be. He had trouble understanding his enemies and made impulsive decisions. So, the Battle of this Pig. Leipzig, also called the Battle of Nations, was a big turning point in 1813. Napoleon lost this battle and had to retreat. It was the start of the end of for him. In the end, the coalition strengthened Napoleon's stretched resources. The smart tactics of his enemies and his own weaker leadership all led to his defeat in 1813. This defeat was a big setback for Napoleon and led to his downfall later on. So that was what happened in Napoleon. Why Napoleon suffered defeat? It's because he was just trying to gather a lots of army without thinking that what could be the enemy's actions. Wala siya kabalo. Impulsive kay iyahang pag sulong-sulong. Wala siya kabalog unsa poy action sa pikas. Nang iyaha kay sulong lang ng sulong iyaha. Just iyaha rang gi una-una is to win. So, the 100 days. So, what happened here in the 100 days? After being sent into exile, Napoleon escaped and returned to France in 1815. Starting the 100 days, he gathered an army and marched to Paris facing little resistance. The French military joined him. So, muna nahitabo sa the 100 days. So, next is the Battle of Waterloo. So, what unsay nahitabo diri sa Battle of Waterloo? So, the Battle of Waterloo happened in 1815. It was a big fight between Napoleon's army and a group of other forces led by the Duke of Wellington. The battle took place in Belgium and lasted all day. Both sides had a lot of casualties. Dahil sa kinay koan. Sorry for the inconvenience. Okay. So the battle took place in Belgium and lasted all day. Both sides has a lot of casualties. The coalition forces had strong defenses, and Napoleon's army tried to break through. In the end, the coalition forces won. Napoleon was defeated and had to give up his power for good. So the Battle of Waterloo was important because it ended Napoleon's rule and brought back to Bourbon monarchy in France. It also changed the power balance in Europe. So when Kwandi ay when Napoleon was the ruler in France, daghan daing nga usob, like for example the power balance in Europe na change siya, like the France is the pinakausgan ato nga time. It's because of Napoleon. And then the Battle of Waterloo is muna siya nagmark nga important. It's because it ends the Napoleon's reign or rule, ni end na iyang pag-rule in the whole sa France, because it is an emperor, so many pud siyang mga napud siya mga na under nga mga nations ani and states. And then the Water of Waterloo, dire good na pildi si Napoleon. It is uh end na ni sa iyang pag-rule. So, the Battle of ang Waterloo is usa ni siya ka place nga which is kana ganing wala siya mismo na naimong kuan. Dito sa murag na corner ni sila dito sa Waterloo. Munang napildi si Napoleon. Muna siya the Battle of Waterloo. So next, let's start with the Congress of Vienna. Okay. So Congress of Vienna. So what happened here in Congress of Vienna? The Congress of Vienna was a meeting of European ambassadors from November 1814 to June 1815. Its main goal was to create a long-lasting peace plan for Europe after the French and Napoleonic Wars. The Congress aimed to restore the balance of power, to prevent one country from dominating others, and reshape the political map of Europe. It successfully established a system of diplomacy and contributed to peace in Europe for almost a century. So it's because of It's because of Napoleonic, they were having a meeting, which is what they called Congress of Vienna. The Congress of Vienna is the meeting of European ambassadors. So they were just look kuan nagseek pud ni sila og kana ganing peace in the Europe. It's because of Napoleon, the power of the Europe is imbalanced because the French was dominating other countries also here. So what they wanted is to keep the power of the Europe into balance. They were looking for they created long lasting peace. It's because it's been a century when Napoleon trying to dominate reign or kanang iyang gidominate ang mga lugar, like there were she I mean he was belittling the other countries. So the Congress of Vienna is the solution for them to have a peace in Europe. So next is the Treaty of Shaumo. What happened here is the Treaty of Shaumo was signed in 1814 by Austria, Russia, Prussia, and the United Kingdom. It was an alliance against Napoleon with the goal of removing him from power and restoring peace in Europe. The treaty included financial support and territorial arrangements. It played a crucial role in defeating Napoleon and establishing a united front against him. So the Treaty of Chaumont is once it is alliance. It was alliance to against Napoleon's goal to removing power of restoring. So since we all know that Napoleon was so powerful during this time, the Treaty of Chaumont, where some of the nations or countries are having an alliance to they were helping each other to um, restore or remove Napoleon's power in the Europe. So they were trying to help each other to defeat Napoleon by establishing uh, uh, they were defeating Napoleon para maka-establish sila og united from against him. So next is conservative order. During the Congress of Vienna, the conservative order emerged as a dominant ideology. Its goal were to restore monarchies, maintain a balance of power, suppress revolutionary ideas, suppress nationalism, and establish conservative diplomacy. The conservative order aimed to preserve traditional structures and prevent radical changes. However, it faced challenges from liberal and nationalist movements in the 19th century. So, the conservative orders, this is one also of the contribution of the Europe to to help also just like the Congress of Vienna and the conservative order kaning kaning kuan the Treaty of Chaumont, and it is kanang usa po ni siya sa mga kuan nga to balance the power of the Europe. It is one of the kuan ni siya order or kanang ilang giplanuhan nga dili na mausob tong pangingon ato nga naay mo dominate sa tanan nga country sa Europe. What they were seeking is they want to be liberal also. They want to be also nga na sila freedom about sa ilang ideology, because during that time Napoleon wanted nga siya yung masunod sa tanan kay emperor kon man to ya empire man to ya. So nagoy mga under nga mga countries ani. So the conservative order is they were going to um get back they were going to let the countries decide what ideology what they nga unsa silang ganahan nga ideology nga buhaton, and then para pod na ni sila like to respect pod to respect their ideologies on how they will going to improve their own countries. So it is usa po ni siya sa makatabang sa kuan Europe nga peace nga naay peace. Next is the Concert of Europe. So what happened here? Or what is the Concert of Europe means? The Concert of Europe was a diplomatic system established during the Congress of Vienna. Its goal was to maintain peace and balance of power in Europe. The major powers held regular meetings to discuss common interests and resolve disputes peacefully. They aim to preserve the existing order, prevent one country from dominating others, and avoid military conflicts. The Concert of Europe helped maintain peace for some time, but faced challenges from nationalist movement and changing dynamics in the 19th century. So yes, as pareha na Japan atong mga na-mention earlier, the Concert of Europe is one of the biggest kaan po ni help for the Europe to have a peace power ng balance power of the Europe. They wanted also to maintain peace and balance power of Europe, and then dili sila ganahan ang kanisyang Concert of Europe is they don't want someone to dominate other countries. So whatever they were going, if unsa sila ka kusgan ug unsa sila ka powerful, they were not going to belittle or dominate someone's count of the other countries. It's because for them it is not nice. So in order to have a peace, so whether kusgan ka or dili, you have to respect others also, because they have their own belief on how to deal with their ideologies or their countries. So usa po ni siya nakatabang. So those are mga, so that's all. Those are the mga Marsha og matawag og kaning nakuan na come up sa mga Europe para ang tanan is naaray peace. So mootog kong Congress of Vienna, the Treaty of Chaumont, the Conservative Order, and the Concert of Europe. So tungod ani ang Europe is naanay peace ato nga time kay di sila ganahan ato na mara sila og ang Europe tanan ato is na mara sila og na phobia na sila, like trauma kaayo tong mga gipangbuhat ni Napoleon, nga which is siya may ni reign sa tanan nga Europe. Di siya ganan katupong dili niya ganan nga nay mga unsa na walls when it comes sa trade. Pag trade nila nay mga abong-abong pagingon ana dili ka trade ang kuan. So in order for them to kuan para naipis ang Europe, so muna ilang mga gipang come up para peace and equal ang power tanan sa Europe. And that's all. Thank you for the time.
So that was um, on what happened during the French Revolution under Napoleon's rule, and also the kuan sa iyang defeat and katong sa Congress of Vienna. So thank you everyone for watching and listening to our report. So
Thank you.
God bless us all. Bye.